Oops. Oh, there I am. I'm seeing myself double on there. And of course, your mic's off there,
Hey,
Aspen. Hey, oh, there you are. Oh, I was too busy going, husband. Wait, one sec. Husband. Oh, he's not listening. Hold on a second. Welcome to the live, you guys. One sec. I was too busy looking at something. So I wanted to call my husband. Oops. Oh, husband. Did you know that your Royal Highness is in the house? Do you believe that that's your Royal Highness? Considering you're from England?
call me in for that.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly because it made me laugh. And then I couldn't help but
Good
think of
name.
the fact that you're British. So just so you know that your Royal Highness is in the house tonight. Just saying. That's it. That's all I wanted.
That was a waste of his trip.
Well, I know. I knew he was going to say that. That's why I didn't bother to tell him ahead of him. I was too busy laughing at because instantly I thought of my husband, who is British. Are you British by chance, Your Royal Highness? Hey, Mustang, how are you?
or
Daisy's in the
or
host.
or just a queen in her own right.
All right, exactly. It's kind of like how I like my husband to refer to me. Yes, Your Highness, whatever you want. It's Crime and Shame. Streamlabs is in the house. I like how Streamlabs changed its little coloring there. So it stands out actually more. Hi,
Yeah.
CJK. How are you? And let's see, PJ's second chance. Do. Angel. Hello, Angel. And yeah, I don't know. Just made me laugh when I seen it. I was like,
It's a
all
good
right.
name.
Hey, yeah, I know. I was just.
Good name.
My husband, however, does not care about any of the royalty stuff whatsoever. I mean, I literally watched what was that? The what was it called again? The
The coronation.
coronation coronation thing. Yeah, I literally stayed up and watched it all, and my husband did not care. No, it's my last name. Okay, all right. Well, thanks for the giggle. Crazy work day again. What is today? Monday? It's Monday. It's Monday, isn't it? Oh yeah. Gotta get my days straight here. Anyways, you guys, tonight we're gonna be talking about three of the cases going on. The only thing that we're really gonna talk about with Delphi is just simply that today that basically the hearing for October 31st on Halloween said that it's at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's the only update for that
Right.
with regards. And if anyone does want to watch the live that we did about 2 or 3 nights ago, Marv, you might want to check that out as well. That's the one where we're talking about Mitch Westerman, the person that leaked the crime scene photos, as well as, there was basically like three people that have been talked about. But anyway, so Mitch Westerman says the gentleman that leaked the photos. Robert Kyle Forston is the gentleman that sadly took his life last week. And of course,
Right.
Mark Robert, who I think is the one that reached out to Murder Shoots to
Yeah.
basically, ask them to, talk to the law and stuff like that. But anyway, you can check that out in the live that we did a few
Yeah.
nights ago.
And
Did you want
I do think that I feel like it shouldn't be. I feel like it shouldn't be brushed over that a man took his own life.
to? No.
Um, and I'm not going to speculate as to what caused him to take his own life. Um, but I feel like in a lot of the coverage that I've been hearing about these leaks, that that person's omitted, or the fact that they're no longer alive is omitted from a lot of the conversation. And I feel like it's a very relevant piece of information to talk about. Um, Granted, I feel like that should be done with respect and dignity given to the family of him. But I find it odd that, like, I feel like in a lot of the conversations I'm hearing, that's just not even mentioned.
Well, I was going to say,
Someone
on
literally
Wednesday,
took their own life.
I was going to,
2 days after they were found out by law enforcement to be a part of this.
right. And I was going to say, Adam, on Wednesday, we can talk about this a lot more if you want, the Delphi and the different things, and more go in depth into what you're talking about this, because it is very tragic and very sad. And again, for whatever reasons, somebody did sadly leave this earth and has left a family,
Right. A beautiful
whatever
wife
it is,
and daughter.
sister, brothers, in a lot of agony and pain. But anyways, we'll do a live, if you want to do it on Wednesday, in regards to the Delphi again,
Right.
because there is still a lot of things that we can discuss. Before we end this topic, one of the things I want to discuss on Wednesday as well is, as I'm watching a few different things going on, it's amazing how many people now I keep saying, including what you had said to me today, about how Richard Allen is innocent, should be let out of jail. It's amazing how many people now I'm seeing saying that they got the wrong guy and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's a topic we'll talk about on Wednesday on a Delphi Live, because like I said, Delphi is a very tragic, like I always want to, that always comes to mind first. It's a very tragic case, what happened to these girls, and that is the foremost of always my thoughts. And then in this case, it's just been a wild, crazy circus of
right
everything.
And there've been a lot of muddied waters, I feel like.
A lot.
But
it just keeps going. I can't tell you enough how I feel so horrible for the families that have had to deal with this. And I know that there's other families out there, but we're not talking about them. But there's a lot of families out there that have had a lot longer. Some people go 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years
right.
without justice, and stuff like that. But just imagine the toll that it would take on you personally. I like to put myself in the other person's shoes, how I would be feeling if this happened to me or something like that. And
Right.
It's just so tragic. And it wrenches at my heart to know that this case just keeps, just twisting and turning.
I've called it, for a long time now. I've used the term, and I think it's appropriate. It's Delphi fuckery. And I know other people have even adopted that term, but I said that for a year now, that there's so much fuckery in this case that there's no other word for it other than Delphi fuckery. Sorry, I won't say the F word.
I know. But yeah, so go ahead.
As of the 31st, I mean, we all know it's the 1 year anniversary of the press conference that we got, or the court appearance that we got for Richard Allen, his initial court appearance. Yeah. And in this court hearing, I believe that the topic is going to be, like Judge Gull said, to appoint new counsel, and also to set a new trial date, which I assume is preliminary, because I think we can all just bet that when new counsel is assigned, they'll need more time than the new trial date to bring themselves up to speed. So whatever trial date they assign, I expect that to move again.
For me, when that update came in, I don't know if it was because when I saw it, I was kind of just feeling like, okay, so he's been appointed counsel now. Now it's not like, that's how I felt about it. Whether it's true or not is another story. But I just felt like, okay, he's been appointed some counsel now, but they're still going through for the August 31st at 9 a.m.
October.
Yeah, right. October. What did I say?
Well, remember, I mean, like Judge Gull, in order to find counsel for him, she's going to go through the public, the public defenders list. She's going to go through the people that are able to handle what could be, most likely won't be, but could be a DP case. And then she's also going to look at the people on that list that have any sort of flexibility in their scheduling to take on a case of this magnitude. So the list of candidates is going to be very small in Indiana. So I mean, I'm sure she knows who she's appointing already.
I was going to say
whether she formally has or not. At this point, I don't know. I don't expect us to find that out until court filings closer to the 31st, if not on the 31st.
Right.
But
yeah,
I was surprised not to see the withdrawals from Baldwin and Rosie on my case, but those actually might not come out either until the new council is appointed, because I'm not sure legally how they handle that as far as the interim, if someone's removed themselves until new council is appointed, because we do have a defendant sitting in a federal prison awaiting trial, and I do believe that person should have representation. So I'm not sure on the legal on legally how that works out, as far as if Rosie hasn't formally withdrawn yet because he was doing it in writing, if he's still technically his representation, or how that works. But I know in the Stephen Avery case, not to go off on a tangent, but they did appoint like a stopgap attorney that was just to fill that in between space. So maybe we'll see something like that. I don't know. But anyway, we're not talking about Delphi tonight, so I'm going to stop talking about that right now.
Tom, can someone check for me? Well, Tom was just saying that he sent me a message and he said something like the live's not showing up. I have to go do my deep dive. So not watching it. Oh, he's not sitting in his chair watching us. But you guys are here, so must be showing up, right? You guys got a notification, or I don't know.
All 16 of you?
I mean, I see it, but I don't know. Notification. You guys got a notification, correct? Obviously. I see it.
Oh, there it popped up on mine.
Yeah. Oh,
well. 14 people.
Yeah. Well, no, there were 15, don't I? Well, and again, it's just because these are different cases, again, we know that our community is Delphi, some other cases, just really the loyal followers, really, as well as the UK from Nicola Bully. So we know that that's when we have lower numbers for sure. Yes. No, I got a notification. MS said people shouldn't do all these things when they did their release video, like not looking up who had taken their life. People should do this. Maybe why people are not discussed. Well, I mean, personally, I don't care what Murder Sheet says whatsoever. Right. They do their thing. We do our thing, right. And stuff like that. So people had put that out there, I think, on day one about the person. I think that, I think personally that people don't like talking about pesticide, so it's not usually something.
Again, I'm not about to pretend to speculate on the reason someone would take their own life. But I mean, I have spoken with Anya and Kevin about that, and and I don't feel like it was not necessary. I think it was more so the devastation of the family of that person that took their life, and the need to be respectful for the family of that person.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that people don't discuss the fact that it even happened. And I'm not saying anything about Anya and Kevin, but
it's just a hard topic to talk about, in all fairness.
Is, absolutely. And I don't pretend to know why that person took their own life.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the fact that I'm hearing so many things on like major media, news media discuss these leaks, but then they don't even mention that this horrible tragic thing also happened, and
well,
and potentially it was one piece of why they did that. I don't know, but I feel like it's important to at least acknowledge that this whole other tragedy has happened.
yeah. But that is a media thing though, Adam. Media does not like to talk about pesticides. They don't. That's like a well-known thing. It's one of those things that it does get brushed to the side because media will talk about murders every day and all that stuff. But when it comes to people taking their own lives, in a sense, they do not like to cover that stuff or talk about that stuff. I
Right.
knew that from, oh, I don't know, years ago. And because I
Yeah.
was curious, like, because I was wondering why some of these stories weren't making it on air, like even in
Right.
Canada here. And that
Right.
was the reason for it, was just because it's like, I don't know, like what do you want to call it, like a voodoo topic almost. I don't know, but either way, that hence why there's true crime sleuths who can talk about what we want, when we want, as long as we're trying to keep it respectful, of course, like Adam's saying and stuff like that. But every channel to their own, butter sheets to their own, each channel to do their own thing. And either people can like it or people not. If someone's at, like, I remember stuff I didn't watch a show because it was to do with children. I think it was the Lucy Leppy one and stuff like that. Some people just can't handle stuff like that, and that's fine, right? Um,
Right.
you know, and
And I because of Stefa can't watch live streams about trees, so it's fair.
so did I, Travis. I think we're all hypocrites in our own right. There's not one person that isn't hypocritical, um, for sure. I know I've done it.
That says that Canadian lady.
Yes, that's that Canadian lady. Okay, so I guess we're on this topic longer than I was wanting to.
Anyway, yeah,
Uh,
let's move
yeah,
on.
yeah. But again, we'll do a Delphi live on Wednesday, guys. As Shine from the Jesse shows on Secret Admirer. Not sure what he's talking about, to be honest, on that one.
Jesse Snyder.
Uh, hmm?
The
Oh, okay. There's who it is. Oh, wait. I have a quick funny story before we get into the live tonight, because this still tickles me that this happened. So my husband was coming to bed yesterday, right? And I have this big, like a light bulb lamp, and
yeah.
this big light bulb lamp. Oh, y'all haven't glossed in a while. Shoot, I actually just did before the live. So anyways, the lamp is literally like a big light bulb lamp, the shape of it. Okay. So my husband put it up on my side table so that the lighting is a lot better for me on the live. So, anyways, so he comes to bed yesterday, right? And he goes like this. And I was like, oh, and he did it like really loud, and he claps, and then the light goes off. And so I'm like laughing hard because I'm like, you mean the whole time the light, it was one of those clap on, clap off lights,
Opera.
right? Yeah. So I sit up out of bed now and I'm like, it's not doing nothing. Okay. So I do it again and it's not doing nothing. And my husband's like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, so I'm going to the bathroom and I'm just giggling all the way, thinking like really, this whole time the light was the clapping thing. No, that's not what happened. What my husband did. So here I'm thinking that, like, all this time, all these years, he was the clapping thing. What he did was he stepped on the cord button
While he did it.
while he did that. So I sat up like an idiot going, and I'm like, why is it not working? And so I'm on my way to the bathroom giggling, thinking that he's the idiot for not knowing that for all these years. And then I realized that it was me because he literally stepped on the cord to
See,
turn
Sonny,
that light off.
your
Oh,
Achilles
okay.
heel is cancer men.
Yeah. Anyways, it was just one of those things. I was just laughing for the wrong reason. Apparently, I was the moron. Okay, so I'm gonna play a video, guys. Here, um, there's gonna be like 3 topics, 3 stories we're gonna be talking about. Anyways, I'm just gonna play it, and we'll see you guys in about 12, 13 minutes or something like that. I think it is. Okay, guys. Okay, so let's see here. We want to full screen layout.
Oh, there you are.
Oops. I gotta hit play. Pardon? Hey everyone, this is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor with It's a Crime and Shame. Thank you guys for joining the live tonight. And if you haven't hit that like button below, please do so, as we so much appreciate it. Now we're going to be talking about 3 different cases tonight. We're going to be talking about Pedro Argote. That's the suspect that they are looking for that took the life of the Maryland judge. The second story that we're going to be talking about today, of course, is the boy in the box. And the third one is the Alaskan pilot that has 83 attempted murder charges against him. Okay, but before we get into that, let's just take a quick look at some of the merchandise that I just created for It's a Crime and Shame. And of course, that link is always in the description of every video. So if you ever want to find a link for anything, always go to the description of the video to find it. Hey guys, so just quickly, here's some of the new products that have been dropped. The Crime Risk Crew It's a Crime and Shame mug. You guys can see hope, faith, and prayer there, as well as some different sweatshirts going on. And come check it out. Some of my favorite things that I like to do just the other day was that there was some pins that they can now make on that fourth wall site. So made some Christmas pins as well as some good vibes type of pins as well. So again, come check out the website. The link's always in the description of this video. Now let's get into true crime.
This morning, a Maryland suburb of Washington, D.C. on edge as police search for the suspect accused of assassinating a local judge. Pedro Argote on the run after allegedly murdering Judge Andrew Wilkinson because the judge ruled in favor of Argote's estranged wife in a custody battle over their 4 children.
We think Judge Wilkinson was targeted.
Just hours before he was shot multiple times in his driveway on Thursday night, Judge Wilkinson ruled that Argote should have no visitation and no contact with his children or their mother, unless initiated by her. Police discovering his car, a 2009 Mercedes SUV like this one, about 8 miles away from the scene of the murder. The community shocked at the cold-blooded murder of a judge who was known as a soft-spoken family man.
It's not fair. I'm going to remember that he encouraged people and served people.
Judge Wilkinson is the 3rd state judge nationally in the last 3 years shot by someone who had a case before their court. And in the last 2 years, there have been more than 7,000 threats against federal judges. New Jersey federal judge Esther Salas has been calling for more judicial security ever since her son was murdered 3 years ago by a man who was targeting her.
We are seeing lives lost and the potential for more lives to be lost if we don't take action now.
The marshals are offering a $10,000 reward for anyone with information that leads to Argote's arrest.
In the Circuit Court of the 15th Judicial Circuit, Criminal Division in and for Palm Beach County, Florida, case number 22 CF001136, BMB Division B, State of Florida versus Timothy Dunn Ferreter, defendant. Verdict: we, the jury, find as follows. As to count 1, we find the defendant guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged in the information. As to count 2, we find the defendant guilty of false imprisonment as charged in the information. As to count 3, we find the defendant guilty of neglect of a child as charged in the information. So we say all this 12th day of October 2023 in West Palm Beach, Florida, signed by the jury foreperson.
As you watch him, deflating, right? You could see him start to melt and disappear. I think he truly expected this jury was going to come back and say, no, it's okay. You can lock your son. It's your son, right? Yeah, lock him in a box. Lock him in a box. Yeah, he was a danger. Don't get him residential treatment. Don't do that. No, just build a box in the garage, and that's how you handle the problem you have. And I truly believe that he thought he was walking out of there. Now, remember, he was offered a deal for 24 months, had to agree to tell the truth in the trial against his wife if she didn't take a deal. So he turned down that deal and went to trial. Now facing like 35 months to 35 years. A lot of discretion for the judge. A few minutes after the verdict as well, take a look at him as he hugs his wife, Tracy. He was given that opportunity to hug Tracy inside the courtroom afterwards, which is kind of unusual also to have that goodbye moment. If we have that, may not have it, that's okay. Okay, so that's the moment he finds out, right? He's been living outside. Then he's remanded. He doesn't go to prison yet, but he goes to jail. So now he spends a week in jail as a man convicted of aggravated child abuse. Okay? Aggravated child abuse. So he's back in court. How did he do during that week? How tough was it? On this program, we had a former inmate say, it's not going to be good for this guy. No, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad, is the way he described it. He didn't go into graphic detail because we know what he was thinking about. I think everyone watching that segment knew what he was thinking about. Now I want to show you Timothy Ferriter back inside the courtroom after being in jail. This is a different man. He's literally shaking. That look in his eyes. This is after becoming the man in the box. And whatever's happening behind those bars. Completely different person. This is the reality of what happens when you're living a life where you can afford a house that's $1 million, you've got children, you've got a life, and you make a decision somehow, some way that the solution to my problem is to lock my child in a box. It's reality. Now, let me show you something else. A little side by side so you can really see the difference. On the left, this is 3 days before the trial began. Like a little, you can see he's probably a little tense about what's about to happen, but relatively almost normal on the left. On the right, this is drastically different. Drastically different. Even the color of his skin, everything.
Okay, now let's take a listen to what the adopted son had to say in response to his time on the witness stand.
Right, that teenage boy who was locked in a box-like garage for 4 years described what he said it was like. He said it was sad to abuse a child who was simply acting like a child. But in a surprise twist, he also says he doesn't blame his parents and wishes everyone would forget it and move on.
Emotional moments in court for Tim and Tracy Ferriter, face to face with their 16-year-old adopted son as he testifies in Tim Ferriter's child abuse trial. The boy describing how Ferriter locked him in an 8x8 garage room every night and much of the day from the time he was about 10 until 14.
Did you have any control over when the lights were on or when the lights were off? No. Who controlled that?
My parents, Tim or Tracy.
The boy, whom we're not identifying, described hours spent locked in a windowless room with a bucket for a bathroom, rarely being allowed in the house with his siblings to watch TV or have snacks, often left locked in the dark with just a few toys and textbooks. Prosecutor Brianna Coakley asked him how it made him feel.
To me, being locked in a room, it's dehumanizing. It's almost as bad as genocide. It's saddening to abuse a child that was just acting like a child.
But during cross-examination, a surprise reversal. The boy saying he doesn't blame his parents.
I don't have a bad image of Tim and Tracy. They just made a mistake. They were just acting out of frantic surprise of my actions. They weren't. I believe that they weren't trying to do any harm. Yeah. I believe that people should recognize that that was a mistake and forgive him and move on.
Defense attorney Priya Murad then recited a list of bad behavior she says led the parents to locking up their son: stealing, lying, hitting, hacking into the school computers, embarrassing his younger sister in class, accidentally pushing his baby brother off a bike, even pretending to be a member of the school board to one unwitting teacher he told he was evaluating.
I think in your words, you intentionally broke the rules you knew about at least 5 times a week.
Usually more, but yes.
But then another twist. Prosecutors started showing some ring video that showed inside that box room. Jurors got to see Tim Farriger in the tiny room, throwing around the mattress, yelling at the boy, cursing at him, and then, along with Tracy, threatening him that if he didn't get his act together, they were going to homeschool him and he'd end up in the box room a lot more than he was even currently. I'm told those videos will go on for 3 hours, so it's likely we'll see more of them tomorrow as testimony in this trial continues. Terry Parker, WPBF, 25 minutes.
Okay, and now the story about the Alaskan pilot that tried to take the lives of 83 people.
News for you. Investigators say an off-duty pilot tried to turn off the engines during a flight that was in the air on the way from Washington State to San Francisco. He was subdued and taken into custody. Let's bring in News Nation's Kelly Beeson in our newsroom. Kelly, do we know what happened here?
Yeah, we do, Nicole, and these were scary moments for all involved. Now an airline employee has been charged with 83 counts of attempted murder after allegedly attempting to shut down the engines in the cockpit. Now, the Horizon Air flight, which is operated by Alaska Airlines, it was heading from the Seattle area to San Francisco. And according to airline authorities, off-duty employee Joseph Emerson was taken into custody after being found riding in the cockpit and attempting to shut those engines down. Pilots say engine power was not lost. That's the good news. And just into the newsroom, we now have audio from air traffic control.
We've got the guy that tried to shut the engines down out of the cockpit, and he doesn't sound like he's causing any issue in the back right now. I think he's subdued. We want law enforcement as soon as we get on the ground and park.
Now, the flight was diverted, landed in Portland after the plane crew was able to subdue him, and he was taken into custody upon landing. Emerson is currently being held behind bars in Oregon, and we're told all passengers on board that plane, they were safe and able to travel on a later flight. Emerson, of course, also again being held behind bars now, Nicole.
Yeah, we're so glad everyone is okay. Very scary. All right, Kelly.
Okay. Okie dokie on that one. Yeah, so we'll talk about the 3 cases. Which one do you want to talk about first, Adam?
Up to you. I mean, do you want to talk about the pilot? I mean, I feel like that's probably the shortest one, right?
Yeah, well, here, 1 second. I'm just going to stop this for a second. Share a window. We'll go to him for a second. Okay. So Joseph Emerson. So, I mean, there's obviously not much known, but obviously he was trying to take his life as well as others' life. You know, what struck me is that I'm looking at this, you know, Joseph to the left, and he, when you look at this person, he looks like he's fun, you know, full of life, personality, you know,
right?
Kind of like just one of those cool friends you have. And
right, like what happened?
Right. And he has this beautiful family. I'm not going to show the one with the kids, even though it's out there on the media, but it's kind of like, you know, there's his wife, and then there's, I believe, 2 children. And you're just kind of like, what, like, it's always hard, you know. They always say, to be honest, too, and I don't know, I do find it to be true myself, just my own thinking. I always find that usually the people that are the most outgoing, caring type of personalities, and I remember this story about how those type of people typically in their whatever, mid years or whatever, later years, seem to struggle with mental health issues the most.
Right. And how old is he? He's young.
You know what?
35?
Let me just see, because I was too busy thinking about the other guy in my head. That was 49, which is the suspect that's
He was
wanted.
like 35 or 36.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely balding, but that doesn't mean anything. Does anybody know in chat quickly how old he was? I should have looked. Joseph.
I mean, I'm looking at the guy's picture, and I agree with you. He I mean, I know that a lot the people that know him all seem to be stunned by this as well.
44.
Which of course a lot of people. How old?
44.
Okay.
Thank you, Angel. Angel found it too.
Did he struggle with? Was there any substance issues in his past? I don't know. So
right.
I'm curious by that because, I've not heard any hints by people that knew him as to what might have led him to this type of action. So it is interesting, and not for anything, Alaska Airlines, it has one of the best reputations as far as airlines for U.S. travel. Most people will say Alaskan Airlines is a wonderful airline. So you don't hear a ton of complaints about their flights or their pilots. Not that.
Well, what I was going to say too is like, it's not only did he obviously want to take his own life, but compelled to obviously try to take the lives of the whole freaking plane with him.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't sound like this was even a flight he was assigned to. So I'm like, one, why was he in the cockpit?
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be more to this story.
He wasn't. Why do you say that, Hoodis? He wasn't trying to off himself. That's not how people do it. Even ever literally never happened. This was. Well, that just went into left field.
You think so? I think Hoodis is. So Hoodis, are you saying that he was attempting to create a terrorist situation? I don't know. I don't know enough about the case to speculate.
I don't like that. To me, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. But
anyone that puts the life of 83 people or 80 some people in danger is of no value to me in this world.
Hey, Sonia. My name is. Go ahead.
Charmaine, I think my package came today. I was not at my condo, but I think my package came today. So thank you.
I know she's been waiting. Lala says if that pilot now, they're going to stop anyone flying in the jumpsuit. I can't, but Happy can because he works for the airline. There's Charmaine. Cockpit should have. I thought the cockpit was like secured. Like I thought it was. I just remember watching a documentary one time on how things were done now ever since 9/11. 9/11. Don't know. Well, I'm sure there's going to be more to the story soon.
Yeah.
And Sonia, my real name is Sonia. My nickname is Sunny, because that's the nickname my mom gave me. But it's with a Y, not an I. Why? Just because. I don't know. But I'm not sure if you pronounce it Sonia or Sonia, but mine's Sonia. Absolutely easier ways to off yourself. That wasn't.
Right.
I mean, I guess. I mean, it's a plausible. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, was this guy trying to be like the Malaysian Airlines pilot? If that's what happened in the Malaysian airline flight, I don't know, but it'll be interesting to hear the circumstances of how this happened.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what some updates bring. He'll never fly again. Nope. No plane would ever freaking allow him on their plane unless he was freaking in handcuffs and bolted like to a seat or something. Even then. Hi, Miss Dog Lover.
Hey, Miss Dog Lover. Go to bed, Miss Dog Lover.
What'd you say?
I said, go to bed, Miss Dog Lover. It's
I know
4:52 a.m.
she doesn't know. She doesn't know what her bedtime is anymore on there. But no, the plane did not crash. Um, he attempted to take it over or turn off the engine, like I said, and then he was subdued. So just you know, poor people. Like, do you know what I mean? The people that literally have to like that's going to be a memory, of course, forever embedded in all of their heads, knowing that, maybe some, like, who knows exactly how it happened and transpired on the plane, but what a scary thing to even have to go through in your lifetime, to be part of that and stuff, and I can never forget too, like 9/11 and just those poor people that were trying to save. I think it was the Philadelphia plane that were trying to, overtake, the terrorists there. Yeah. No, they subdued him. Yeah, right. Yeah, subdued him and landed the plane. So, yeah, please hit that like button if you guys haven't hit that like button. Okay, so he was off duty. That's what I thought. That's what I was taking it. Like he was off duty.
Right. But then again, why was he in the cockpit?
Because he was a pilot.
Right. He was in the jump seat. I get why he was there, but officially he probably should not have been allowed in the cockpit.
Correct.
If not on duty.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see, more about the story, but I'm just glad that all those people are safe and that the pilots were able to subdue him and get him out of the cockpit and they were able to land the flight safely, because, that could have gone poorly. So it's good to hear a positive
outcome
end result for a nefarious situation.
Okay, so now let's go. Okay, that's not like for that story. We don't know much more details, just until we actually hear more about it, I suppose. But so let's go back to, well, we'll do this one next and then we'll get into the longer story. Okay, so Pedro Manuel Argote took the life of a Maryland judge. So sad. You like when you look at him, he looks, like a nice dude, like the judge does. And again, this was because of a divorce and custody, and it didn't go his way. Now, if I'm not mistaken, one second here. Let me just see if I can Windows. 1 second here. Right here. Okay. So this is where the judge lived here. And I believe this is one of his Maryland addresses. It's about 15 minutes away. In, what was it called? Hagerstown. Yeah. In Hagerstown.
Whatever.
So, let's see. Let's see if this is the house right here. I think it was, I'm not sure exactly which house it is, actually. I have to go back to the news there. Either way, this is where the judge lived down this street here. I want to say that, I mean, the thing was on this one. When I pull it back in the street view. On there. Either way.
Driveway.
Pardon?
And then unalived in his own driveway.
Yeah. Honestly, it reminds me, I don't know, just seems like it's not safe to be a police officer. Seems like it's not safe to be a judge. It just seems like there's a lot more of this happening.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Sonny, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I know there's a lot we don't know about this situation. Mainly, we don't know where the guy is. You know, we know a lot. We know some of the details after the judge was unalived. But you know what you just brought up as far as this happening more and more, it definitely had made me think about, you know, not to go back to Delphi, but it definitely made me think about the risk that, you know, some of these public people put their life in the line for, you know, because I have seen some, I personally have seen some horrible, repulsive social media post about, you know, Francis Gull. And, you know, we all know that, you know, it's not hard to find personal information about people online, you know, such as family members, their address, things like that. And when I see some of the stuff that I'm reading about Judge Gull and the fact that some people are dissatisfied with how she's been handling the Delphi case, it makes me think, you know, how terrifying that would be to be in that position where you have to abide by the rule of law and do your job, but at the same time you have to potentially fear for your life or your family's life, just because there are nut jobs on Reddit and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube saying that you're a corrupt, evil person, and all doing so for their own self-serving purposes.
Yeah.
Like, my heart just goes out to anyone that would be in that position. And this judge that was killed in was it Virginia or Maryland? Sorry.
Maryland.
You know, that this is not an isolated incident. This happens more and more and more, especially with judges or federal prosecutors or state prosecutors, where they're targeted because of a case they're doing and the public unhappiness with the job that they're doing.
Yeah. Let me just.
It's really scary and it's sad.
1 second. I'm just going to bring in that picture. Andrew Wilkinson was the judge's name. I'm just going to bring up a picture here quickly of him. Let's present. Share screen window. There we go. Like,
yeah, and his
wife looks like a nice guy.
Home. Sorry.
Hey,
I just said his wife and child were home when he was murdered in the driveway.
it's just so tragic. Seriously, like that's why life, right? You know, I know the importance of life. 1 minute there, 1 minute you're not. You know, but it is sad. Like, I mean, the judge that was talking after this, that someone took their vendetta out on her son because of her and stuff like that. And I don't know. True crime is a hard community, to be honest, to be in. It's there's like the reward is that you bring attention to cases. That's really the gist of it. It's not even trying to figure out, you know, so much the whodunit and stuff like that. It's just the tragedy to me. Instantly, I think about the family and what they're going through right now, you know. And as we are getting close to Thanksgiving for the U.S., you know, and Christmas time and stuff like that, and then to know that these people's lives have just been altered on a whole different course. Very, very, very sad. Those pilots will be disciplined. I'm probably sure, Joan. I wouldn't doubt it. If perhaps, well, I mean, I guess it depends on their rule that they have, right? You know, if the
right.
To me, it depends if the pilot if they have authorization to allow someone like in the cockpit, or if there's like legitimately no that no one should be in the cockpit. That will just depend on the rule that the airline has, I guess, for that, or else, you know, the federal aviation laws, whatever those are. So obviously, if you know, just depends on really the law there, the rule. Now two families. Yeah.
For anyone that's not familiar with the this case that that Sunny has on the screen with the judge, I believe it was Thursday that the this Argote individual had a hearing in the divorce case.
Oh yeah.
With he and his ex-wife.
Yeah.
The judge, Argote was not present at the court date. I think it was Thursday, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Thursday or Friday. I think Thursday.
But it was ruled that his wife would get custody of their children, and that he would have to pay. I believe it was like $1,102 or something a month. I can't remember the exact amount in child support and alimony. And then Saturday, that night or the next day, I can't remember. The judge was shot to death in his driveway. On Saturday of this past weekend, the Mercedes that Argote was driving was found in a wooded area about 10 miles away, I think. And that's pretty much the latest update there's been.
Yeah.
And that was Saturday morning.
So it says that on Thursday, what I'm reading here is that it says Wilkinson was found around 8 p.m. on Thursday, suffering from what appeared to be gunshot wounds on his driveway in Hagerstown. The Washington County Sheriff said in a release he was taken to Murtis Medical Center, where he later had passed away.
So the court date was on Thursday, and he was unalived later that night at his own home.
It's so for anyone that doesn't know, it says, so early that day, Wilkinson ruled against Argote in his divorce petition against his estranged wife and ordered him to pay a monthly child support and barred him from having any contact with his children. Ooh.
Yeah. Because there had been domestic allegations, I believe, in the past, and a few calls that Ellie had responded to. But this guy is now currently on the run. He has ties to Florida, New York, North Carolina. I can't remember if there's anywhere else.
Yeah, there was quite a few.
Yeah. I know, because I got a news alert after we talked about this earlier today, Sunny, from my local news station that was like, Argote has North Carolina ties, but they were like unknown North Carolina cities. So I was like, okay, well, thanks. That gives us a lot of a lot of leads to investigate.
Right, and
he could be in North Carolina, but we don't know where.
Good. I was going to say, to me, one of the most important things in true crime, and this is my own thoughts and opinions, is that you use your social media, for the better of the good. So when these stories come along and stuff like that, and this guy needs to be captured, I'm hoping that people will do their part, post to their Twitter, their Instagrams, their TikToks, their Facebooks, and if you have a YouTube channel, perhaps talk about it, of course, because that's really one of the best things in true crime that we can do to help is by plastering it, everywhere. I always love that thing.
I mean, this guy doesn't look dangerous, but I mean, he unalived a guy in cold blood in his own driveway, and now he's on the run.
He reminds me of, like I said to you earlier, it reminds me of Superman. Like glass is off, glass is on. I don't know why, but Superman came into my head. Right. Not that he's a Superman, because obviously he's not. But I was just like, because to me, always, even though with his face, it doesn't, sometimes glasses can change someone's look up, just like baseball caps can, and stuff like that. But anyways, again, just Google it, you guys, and get the poster for the wanted and just circulate it around. Because again, that's really one of the most, if it was your child, something happened to your father, you'd want people to be there for you. So,
you know, and I don't know anything about this guy other than what I'm speculating on about. But from what I have learned about him, he seems like the kind of guy that, in my opinion, rather than go the distance as far as, being a fugitive, I can see this guy being a coward and taking his own life somewhere remote, and that he'll be found, having unalived himself. But who knows?
He's a coward.
Yeah, he seems like a coward to me.
Yeah, I would put him in that category too. It won't shock me. That's what I hate, is when people take people's lives, and yet you got the gun, go use it on yourself. Like, seriously, you're going to be sitting in freaking prison for the rest of your life, So the coward, take your wife's
But
life.
he is on the
life,
loose, so
take your
cowards can still hurt people. I said, but he is on the loose, and cowards can still hurt people.
Absolutely. But it won't shock me if he does. I don't know. What do you think? You think they're going to find him alive, or?
No, I think he seems like the kind of guy that's gonna take the coward's way out and take his own life. Somewhere remote. But that doesn't mean he won't hurt someone else before that.
Absolutely. So, anyways, just to ask you guys if you guys can do that, go grab the wanted poster for him. I got it from Twitter, but it was like it kept showing up on my screen big when I did it, so I just only took the picture from it. But anyways, that's what's really important, is to help the families in that way, to capture someone. Same thing with the Rachel Morin case as well. If you could remember to republish hers back up on there. Again, that's what really helps. That's where the internet, to me, is so fascinating. How great it can be used when used for the right reasons. It's just how fast things can go like that with a case, And so I love that part of it, because there's always going to be good and bad in everything, right?
Oh,
so it's going to be.
I mean, look at Idaho. I mean, the whole country was looking for a white Elantra with like that.
Right.
Granted, no one found it, but they were still looking for it.
I know. Would help if they did have the correct year, or at least let people know.
Indiana was like, "Oh no, go ahead. We pulled you over. Go ahead. Oh, we pulled you over again. Go ahead."
Yeah. That case. Well, there's a few cases, like I said, I'd like to talk about. Rex Heuermann's case, and that's the couple affidavits, and I think there's a couple more coming and stuff like that. And but anyways, let's go back to the boy in the box story. So of course, this is the Tracy and Tim, and I honestly feel this is the box here, you guys, right? That the construction person built in the garage.
This is the case I know the littlest about, so I'm gonna listen to you.
Well, I don't know it as good as some, but I know it enough to know that these parents had an adopted son who obviously, I think that what their problem is here, if only they had called for super nanny. If they had called for super nanny, they would not be probably in this position right now. But anyway, so as we listen to the recording from the adopted son their son, I mean, there's nothing that's going to excuse this at all. Zero. Okay. You do not do that to children. You want to put them in a freaking timeout or something like that, or, but this is not the way to go at it. But I honestly feel like they actually feel like they didn't do anything really wrong. Honestly, get the vibe that they are so uppity up on themselves, in a sense. Like, they really give this almost arrogant-y, like upper classy, like look.
I felt that in the video watching him in court. I kind of felt that, like, that douchebag vibe.
Both of them, like her and him, It's like I said, it's like they have their own self on pedestals.
Right. And if I were her, I would not be tucking my hair behind my ears if I were her.
Right. But yeah, so basically, right, it's these parents that that their child is doing, like, well, kind of what you listen to, right? Is pushing his uh, younger sibling off of a bike, blah, 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 blah. Basically, he's probably, to be honest with you, a parent's worst nightmare for a child. He sounds like, admittedly so by himself. But does that, of course, mean you put this child and build this space in your garage and treat him like he's a freaking animal? Of course not. Right? I mean, obviously, this child is adopted. Obviously, there's issues going on with anyone that acts out, no matter who it is. It's obviously there's underlying issues going on. And I'm sure it didn't help any how they were dealing with this child instead of probably giving him the proper love and guidance and attention that he truly needed. Instead, let's throw him in a box and throw a couple PJ sandwiches at him, And what amazes me is that this is for 4 years. It took that long for this to come to light, meaning that nothing was said to the teacher, by his siblings or, by him. It just seems 4 years. Seems crazy. Like relatives don't come over. Like what? Right? Like
It's
the
shocking.
grandparents don't come over
It's
and
shocking
visit.
how often this stuff goes unnoticed. I mean, even look at Ruby Frank. I feel like there were family members that wanted to do the right thing and didn't feel like they could or knew how to do something to actually make a difference. And so they just didn't. It doesn't excuse it, but
yeah, 1 second.
I feel like human behavior is, sadly, I think, human nature can, prevent people sometimes from acting on their gut if they feel like there's a logical reason that they shouldn't. And, if you don't know what the result of something could be, or you don't know what's going to happen, are you going to take the chance to alienate these people in your life if you're wrong? I feel like, a lot of people, when given that choice, they choose not to do anything.
Right.
And again, I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying.
No, it's just that stuff happens all the time. Would have, could have, should have, didn't. Just what I'm like I said, the parents, they sit there and you get this vibe like they just didn't, that they don't feel like what they did is criminal or just sick and twisted. It's really like they sit there going, like, with this look. Now, he was offered a plea deal, but that plea deal would have included,
admitting,
telling about his wife and, etc. He turned it down. Idiot. She's going to take a plea deal on you. Get granted. Watch her. When Tracy literally, see, he's charged. And now his court date, I can't remember exactly what day the court date's on for his sentencing. He's probably going to do a hefty amount of time, I would think. Yeah. And wifey there is going to be shitting her pants once she hears what he gets. But now, both of them are just as accountable to me, whether he was in the room more yelling or not. It's like if you commit a murder and the person's in the car, that's all part of it. They know what they're doing, and their culpability is just as much as the person that actually did the crime. To me, it's just like 50-50. Like, you both did it. You both knew. This was, whether the dad was in there more doesn't really matter to me. It's just, nothing ever seems to.
This boy, he had a rough road ahead of him to begin with. And he's got a much harder road ahead of him now. you know, like that. I feel awful for him, the other kids, and you know, anyone involved.
Thank you.
And you know, but like, you know, like if you look at an example also of, you know, look at all the people in Lori Vallow's life that, you know, noticed there were things wrong with her, that noticed there were things wrong with Chad Daybell, and they didn't do anything because they didn't know what to do. But I guarantee you, all of those people that didn't do anything now wish they would have.
Of course they do. Of course they do. It's always a given. Probably what ticks me off the most, you know, about people is that if I see anything that whatever, I'm there, you know. And then there's so many people that just turn a blind eye. They don't want to be involved. They don't want to be.
It's hard though when it's your own family. It's hard. I get that it's hard.
I get the fact that it's hard too, but sorry.
I agree.
If it was if anyone in my family, if I ever saw like anything like that, you know, absolutely not. If I saw like abuse going on to my nieces or nephews and that, absolutely not. I just don't put up with that whatsoever at all. But, you know, again, I'm a stronger personality. I try to believe in doing things that I feel are the right way, type of thing, you know, and I like the fact that I do that. I like the fact that I'm not passive and just turn a blind eye to things, you know. I just instinctively react. Like if I were to see like some chick getting beat up by a guy, like instantly I'd be like running over there or something like that, you know, calling 911, you know, just instinctively. But it always gets me when you watch some of these sick and twisted cases and, you know, would have, could have, should have, didn't, you know.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I don't get it by the same token, you know, turning a blind eye to something like that, family or not. I guess it's for me, no matter what, it's about kids, right?
Right.
But like, we're here to protect the kids, you know. This boy, no matter what wrongs he's done, didn't deserve to be put in a box like he was a caged animal. You know, I'm amazed that they actually let him go to school and didn't homeschool him already, to be honest. You know, I don't know. Well, I'm just going to see what some of you guys are saying. Yeah, she freaked out in court. Yeah, well, you know what? I hope, like I said, because, you know, the husband's obviously going first and, you know, her day's going to come too. And I'll be curious to see, because I think it was it each count was like held 15 years or something like that. I can't, don't quote me on that. The kind of treatment won't help behavior problems, it will make it worse. You know, it's kind of like that saying, right? You catch more bees, you know, with honey than you do with vinegar. So if you treat children, you know, I don't know, just what do they expect? Do they expect the child to get better by locking him in a room, you know, and using a bucket for a toilet and stuff like that? There's some, I can't help it, but there's just crazy cases, you know, that I've come across, you know, where they've literally handcuffed their kids and stuff to their beds. And it's just so twisted that people's brains, like even these guys here, like I said, you know, they look like they're very, I think that they think that they're very uppity, upper class and this and that. And they honestly just look like, to me, they just look like really these non-caring parents that they're, it's like those people that, you know, portray the outward look, like they have their life together. They got this perfect little family type of thing. And behind the closed doors is pieces of craps. A piece of craps. Oops, PB and J. I don't know what I'm having for lunch tomorrow. I'm so inappropriate. I apologize. You know, that's probably what I'm making my husband for lunch tomorrow. P&J. Gotta love a good P&J. They need professional help. Super Nanny, we sorted that out. Absolutely. I love Super Nanny. I've watched, you know, I mean, what I like about Super Nanny is that I like it when she does go in and she helps these families out, and restore some order if you follow, of course, the certain guidelines. And again, I mean, that's a whole different topic, but some people believe in, swatting and hitting their children and stuff. I never believed in that. I did that one time to my son when he was 2, smacked him on the bottom, any type of thing. And then his face as he looked at me made me feel horrible, but I didn't feel ever that hitting someone, justified anything. It didn't show them anything besides that hitting is appropriate. So no wonder sometimes to me why children grow up and they're, hitting back, because if that's what they see, then that's what they do. And it's kind of like, so I'm not a believer in hitting the children at all. I'm a total believer in that things have a certain consequence. My consequence to my son, Matt, was that he lost the favorite thing that meant the most to him, which was the internet. So he hated it when he didn't have the internet. But anyways, I just feel like I said that you're not solving the issues. In fact, to me, you're just showing that when you do something wrong, you get hit. So how is that child supposed to grow up? They're going to end up doing the same thing.
Exactly.
I
agree
about
with you 100%.
learning. Yeah. Well, hitting shows nothing. Hitting shows that you're being scared. I never wanted my son to be scared of me. I always wanted him just to learn that, this is right. This is wrong. These are the consequences. And again, you're going to suffer with you not having the internet, because that's the thing that meant the most. And boy, it doesn't take them long. It's almost like using the naughty corner, because they like, for my son, it was like, well, what do I do? I got nothing to do. Mom, can I please? No. Anyways, that's how I feel. Other kid, all adopted? No, I don't know, actually. I think it's just him that was adopted, correct? I'm not
actually
sure,
don't know. Like I said, I don't know as much about that case as the other cases we talked about.
You would think, Angel, that people look at Oren and Orson, right? Adopted, right? By those despicable, people. Anyways, that's the LA case. And those kids' bodies still have not been found, I don't even know what to say to that, right? You think that when you adopt a child, that's because you love them and you love kids and this stuff. I don't even know what to say, because there's no level I could ever understand why people harm children at all. Zero. To me, they're sweet, they're innocent, and it's our job to bring them up, well structured, well mannered, type of thing. And just to know that this stuff goes on, there's nothing anyone could ever say to me personally that would ever justify the abuse of a child. Don't care. Do not care. If a child, obviously as this boy, he's saying look, I'm breaking the, rules all the time. I'm sure he was frustrating. My older sister, Paula, she wasn't exactly an angel during her teenage years either, but like I said, there is solutions other than sitting there, putting them in a freaking box with a bin saying, here, this is your potty toilet, basically, and here's a sandwich. And then the son is this is how sad it is that he's literally, oops, they made a mistake. I don't think really differently of Tracy and Tim. I just think that they made a mistake and that they should be forgiven, and people should just move on. That's his thinking, which sadly is sad that he's literally giving them a pass, trying to give them a pass almost, and no, they don't deserve no pass. You don't put a child in a freaking box in a garage. No. I don't recall, but they have been removed. Maybe I should have hit play. I think I had stopped it. Smacking is different to hitting. I've never smacked my child. I've took away I've never smacked my child. Never took away. Oh, I've took away what means most to them. I never smacked my child. My mom smacked me. I got the belt and stuff like that. That was kind of like how parents did things back in the day, you know, till things changed. Now, if you do that stuff, you know that. But, you know, it was just, you know, when someone grows up and they're in a household and there's certain things you don't like as a parent, and then you do the opposite. That was me. I did the opposite. You know, I didn't smack my child, even though my mom smacked me. Very rarely. But my mom always said if looks could kill, I'd win. But I think she probably said that to all of us. But, you know, then I get a cup across the face if her hand was close enough or something like that. But to me, it was, and that was just kind of like instinct. But my mom wasn't like this abuser. We got the wooden spoon, but these were typical things that happened back in that day. Just like before our time, you know, teachers could literally give you a licking and stuff like that. I would like to think that that stuff doesn't exist in any schools and stuff like that anymore. But anyways, that's besides the point. All I know is, for me personally, this guy right here and his wife, Tracy and Tim here, I'm glad you're shaken, dude. I really have no empathy for you. I don't care what you did to that poor boy that the son that you guys adopted and took in, stuck him in a room like a freaking caged animal. Why should I have pity for that? They need to go to get some self-help while they're going to sit there in prison. Like I said, I'll be curious if the wife gets a lighter sentence, or how that will play out as, you know, I'll be curious to see both what his sentence will be and then what hers will be. And I wonder if she will take a plea deal, even if she's allowed to anymore at this point. I don't know. That's really all I have to talk about for the most part tonight, was these three cases.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I don't know. We'll go 12 more minutes. Another 12, make that 11. 11 more minutes, you guys. So whatever you guys want to talk about, feel free to put it in chat there. Sue's getting all these kids now, right? Here, let me just stop screen on that. Here, present, share screen. I just Adam, what are you doing? He's hiding it from.
No, I'm here.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, that's really about it for each of those cases.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for him. It's a matter of.
We've been talked about Delphi for 22 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, two of the stories, there's really not a lot to like, you know what I mean? Not worthy of its own separate live, to be honest with you. Just because there's not enough out there. So that would be like stretching it for no reason. That's why it's kind of like those ones, the judge one and the pilot one. Like I said, those are new. So until newer information comes out with those. I went to a convent school. Reflection was there.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying, and and there's several other cases that I would love to be able to do a whole episode about Rachel Morin, but there's just not enough new information to talk about, which is shocking considering that we still don't have a suspect after we have a DNA match and camera footage. That really baffles me.
Well, no different than the BG, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like in 2023 you would think that hopefully that would be much quicker, but here we have nothing. Like I know that we talked about Natalie Holloway and that situation. I did hear there was a case in Indiana with an SK, Herb Baumeister, who most people know, Fox Hollow or Fox Hollow, I think is the name of the grounds or whatever. But they did ID one of his other victims in the last week, which I thought was progress, because I think he's been attributed now to over like a dozen or 2 dozen unalivings. So I was glad to see that they were able to connect DNA to a set of remains that were found on that property. Chaotic has told us a lot about that case as well.
Oh, right.
Herb Baumeister. Yeah.
And you got me thinking of Frank Meister.
Yes, it's Frank Meister. And then as far as like the list, I know there's a lot of stuff going on with that. I honestly I need to catch myself up with what's going on with Rex
Heuermann.
With Rex Heuermann.
Yeah. Very interesting, though. I personally believe that Shannon Gilbert is going to be attached to the Giglio Long Beach Zero SK. Yeah. Like I always thought so. So if these affidavits are correct and accurate, I would hope so, because it's that could warrant jail time if you sit there and lie.
Did Andrew Baldwin write them? Just kidding.
Right. But yeah, so with these new affidavits and what the story that I can't think of his name, something Ray something, Shannon Gilbert's lawyer, and that, to me, I know Alexa said the other night that she didn't really think that, like, she was like, nah, I don't believe it. But I'm like,
most people don't, and I don't know one way or another.
To me, I think myself that most people, until they saw Rex Heuermann on the thing, brushed things off throughout the years, didn't think much about it, maybe remembered stuff. I think once he came out into the news, it propelled people to want to talk. So kind of like what that Ray guy was saying, it's like him and that sheriff's guy or whatever he is have been talking for months that nobody knew, and working together. So I find it, I feel like it's more credible for the fact of him standing there beside Ray, whatever the gentleman's name was, the police officer or whatever. I feel it more credible because it's kind of like, they're both coming forward and the one is supporting him, saying, coming out saying we're working together for months now or whatever it is. And I do feel like there's some truth to these, for sure. I do.
Right.
I feel like, that if it ends up being true, ASAP or whatever her name is, that she's got a lot of explaining to do, for sure. It won't shock me because being swingers and whatever.
And the circumstances of Shannon's disappearance have always stood out to me, just because, I always try to look at the most logical answer to every scenario. And I think typically the scenarios and cases that stand out to me the most are the scenarios that logic doesn't solve, like the questions that we have in the cases. Probably why I'm so fascinated with Delphi. But with Shannon Gilbert's case, I've never been able to equate in my brain, she ran it off into the marsh and accidentally drowned. I understand that can absolutely happen. It just seems like a very connect the dots without any context explanation as to what happened to her. And there's been a very absolute, no, this is what happened. And maybe they know more. Of course they know more than we do. But that's always stood out to me. Like, her case has always stood out to me as far as, like,
Well,
excuse me, sorry. Like, you know, like it doesn't, like, I'm like, okay, well, why can't it be connected? Because I mean, so I'm like, you just know she ran off and like just, you know, she drowned in the marsh.
well, I was going to say, I mean, because now it's really looking at that 911 call that she did, and then going back to the story that was told by on the affidavit about Shannon Gilbert. You know, because I never thought she just ran off and disappeared into a marsh. I don't know. As soon as I heard it, I just felt like I didn't know about this case whatsoever. Alexa knew about it because obviously Long Island, living there.
It makes as much sense as Suzanne Morphew going for a mountain bike ride the night before Mother's Day, never being seen again.
Right.
And getting attacked by a mountain lion.
I'll be curious if that 22 that gentleman found about, I thought he said 500 yards, but maybe he said less, but someone put 200 yards. But I'll be curious if that gentleman that came out, I think his channel is Cold Case Cause, if I'm not mistaken, Cold Case Cause. Anyway, so he had found the sheet that possibly could look like it had blood on it. But there he found a 22 gun, not a rifle, but a gun. But even if it's not connected to Suzanne Morphew, even though the 22 rifle was talked about in like that was one of the things that they found during their searches or whatever, but they said rifle case, not a 22 rifle or 22 gun. I'm not sure. I'm not a gun person. I don't know. I just know what I'm hearing. .22 gun, whatever. But anyway, so it's like a long barrel type thing. But anyway, so he had showed it, and hopefully, if it doesn't, well, hopefully it connects to Suzanne Morphew's case because then Barry's ass is grass. But if it doesn't, hopefully it connects to another case, perhaps. You know?
And sorry, I didn't mean to change the topic from Shannon Gilbert to Suzanne Morphew. I was just using that as an example of like.
Oh no, it's okay because we're going to head off in a second right here anyway. Sort of go off topic. I've been away for a bit. Any news on that guy linked? No, there's nothing. No. We know nothing.
Last I heard was investigators were following some leads in Chicago, which that was months ago, and I never heard any updates on that.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if the next update is that maybe they do have the person. I think it's just a matter of time for him, you know. I think the reward is $30,000 for her at the moment. To me, I feel like I don't know how they go or how long, you know, things can be found. But well, hold on, because it was only a few months prior that he was at that home.
It was this spring in LA.
Yeah.
With the male, apparently it was a male in the house, but
well, because if they can find the same, well, that would depend too. But if they can, you know, to me, it's going to be digital data. Unless somebody fakes them out, then hopefully through digital data, they'll be able to find their suspect, especially if he had the same phone.
I'm thinking they're going to identify him, and then they're going to get a picture of him. He'll be caught on camera at some point, and then hopefully he'll get apprehended right away. But you know, if not, he seems like the kind of guy that could give us a Calvin Conte type chase.
Yeah.
But,
anyways, you guys,
it's completely speculative.
Yeah. But. All right. So, definitely. So Wednesday night Delphi, Adam.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless I decide to do one tomorrow for some odd reason, but.
I mean, I'm exhausted with Delphi, but sure.
You know, I'm not so exhausted with it. I feel like there's meaning that, you know, for a while there was just really nothing to talk about, besides regurgitating circles after circles after circles. Now I feel like there's still stuff to talk about for sure. I feel like revived somewhat with it
I'm
for
gonna
sure.
start taking I'm gonna start taking a picture of myself on October 31st every year.
Every year,
Till
October
Delphi
31st.
is solved, and then see how I look at the end of it.
In the back of my head, I wonder just honestly, how long before Delphi? How long before those girls get justice? And will it happen? Will, I don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know, you know? I would love
Libby would. I mean, Libby
her favorite
legally
holiday.
would be able to drink on her birthday this year.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that's how long it's been, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So ironic that Halloween is Libby's favorite holiday there, and that's 2 years now. You know, but I feel like still like everything's happens for their reason,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
always feel with Abby and Libby, I don't know if they're getting the short end of the stick, or if that, you know, like you want the proper person or persons to be held accountable. That's the end of it. You want that. You know, I would love to understand the story. Like, I still can't wrap my head around what scenario created person or persons to take the lives of Abby and Libby that day in this small 3,000 people town that happened that day. Like, I can't wrap my head around, honestly, anymore. Because every time you think you feel like you know something or feel like you're on the right path, everything just goes sideways, backwards, twisted, like this whole Odinism stuff. And it's left me feeling just, I don't know, just sad.
Yeah. Yep.
I just don't know. I just wish that one of the two girls would come down and literally go, look, this is exactly what happened. You know, I just wish we knew the story to why those poor girls had their lives taken from them. But anyways, we'll talk about that more on Wednesday nights live. Again, if you guys want to check out the new merchandise, I'm going to be making, just so you guys know, I'm going to be making my ugly Santa sweater. I feel like we need a few of those. My ugly Santa sweater. Or what is it? My ugly Christmas sweater. I feel like I need to make a couple of those. And October 31st, regardless, I'll be doing a live for Halloween, but August 31st at 9 a.m. obviously is the court hearing. But yeah, that night. So I'm just going to look around for, what am I saying?
August.
Why am I saying August? I don't know why. October, August. Okay. I don't know.
Just think of the. You could make a shirt that said, you could put random people's pictures on it and just say ho ho ho. Kidding.
Right. Just quickly, guess what I made today. And I've never done it before actually, because I normally will have noodles already in a box. I made mac and cheese for dinner today from scratch.
Oh, nice. I haven't had dinner yet. I'm gonna eat as soon as we literally as soon as we get off here. I'm
kind of hungry here.
Stuff my face with something.
Anyways, you guys, yeah. Check out the merch site. Check out the links in the description. If you're not following on Twitter or Facebook, again, you can find all those links there. And other than that, you guys take care. Miss Dog Lover, enjoy your few days. I'm off to work for a few days.
Right.
Charmaine,
Miss Dog Lover, go to bed.
I know.
I don't care if you're off work. Go to bed.
Miss Dog Lover's like 8 hours difference. Anyways, you guys, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Please hit that like button if you haven't. You guys take care, and we'll see you on Wednesday. And big kisses. I'm making a lemon drizzle cake for my colleagues. Nice. Nice. Just airmail me some. Anyways, you guys, take care. Thanks so much. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.